ladies and gentlemen. This is Nagasa from Sanyii Academy. Today, I'm going to teach global trend discourse about foreign policy behaviors, patterns, and trends. If you are new for this channel, please start by subscribing and liking. And if you're already subscribed to Sanyii Academy, start watching this video by liking, commenting, and sharing the video. Besides, you can also use social media links that are mentioned on this video. And having said this, I just directly proceed to today's lesson, which is about foreign policy behavior, patterns, and trends we are going to see in this lesson. In the previous lesson, we have seen what foreign policy is, what national interest is, and also some foreign policy objectives that we need to know as a short range, mid range, and a long range. These are those objectives that nations want to realize through their conduct, through their interaction with the rest in the international system. Today, we are going to see what foreign policy behaviors are there and how we are about to see those foreign policy behaviors in their practice in the international relations. Simply, foreign policy behaviors refers to the actions states take towards each other. This is action states take towards each other in their dealing of international relations. These actions usually are tied in some way with larger purposes, from long-range objective to short-term objectives that leaders hope to achieve in their dealing with other countries. We said the primary purpose of any relationship and any foreign policy is to maintain national interests of the country, to achieve the whole objective of nations, so as to help the nation grow and have influence in every spectrum of their dealing. Any action that the state takes, any action that the state produces, and any contact that the state make with the rest of the world is tied to the objective that the country need to achieve in the international relations. This is the reason, because we have said in the previous sessions that the main driving behind foreign policy and every action the country makes with other states in the international system is to achieve its national interest. National interest cannot be compromised. National interest is manifested and stated in forms of objectives, although these forms of objectives have certain characteristics and nature connected to time, value, and demand that it imposes on other states in its achievement. So any action and inaction of the state is forced or caused by foreign policy and national interests. And this behavior they make is attached to the objective of foreign policy. It is not easy to label countries as simply peace-loving or warlike, or to use other such categorization. We cannot simply we cannot simply ascribe the behavior to the state as warlike or warmonger or peace-loving country. There are different issues that we have to take into account. There are different aspects of our consideration that should be rationalized. Nevertheless, patterns of foreign policy behavior can be identified, whatever their characteristics, whatever their nature maybe there are certain foreign policy behaviors that we have to look into. Arnold Warfors, one of the prominent scholar in the field of international relations, suggests that there are three possible patterns in the foreign policy behaviors. These are manifested in the international relation and international politics, and nations are exercising that behavior in order to maintain their national interests, whatever mean they use. There are patterns and behavior they follow. These are three. The first one is self-preservation, which is maintaining the status quo. Example, countries such as the United States of America follows this foreign policy behavior, self-preservation, preserving oneself by depending on the status quo, maintaining the status quo. The second one is self-extension. This is an attempt that a country makes to revive the status quo in its favor. Countries such as China, Russia, India, North Korea follow this approach or behavior. They want to revive the international system in their favor, in their own favor. They want to be the advantages and they want to make international order that is beneficial and advantageous to them. So self-extension is the second. The third one is self-abnegation. This is simply doing everything you can for your colonizers or facilitating everything for someone else. And this is least developed countries do this thing. This is the behavior that least developed countries follow. Self-abnegation is what they follow. So these are very crucial foreign policy behaviors and patterns that every countries are trying to pursue. US following the World War II emerged as one of the strongest actor superpower in the international relations. Cold War especially has given a great lesson for the world that the United States and the United USSR was trying to order and define the international system in their favor. There was a competition, and finally, it was in the favor of the United States of America that the international system was ordered along the neoliberal and capitalist philosophy. The international institutions such as IMF, World Bank, GATT, or WTO were established following World War II and have strongly been shaped by the United States of America. Most of these institutions are under the supervision and support of the United States of America. They were designed to deeply establish the values of Western democracy and neoliberal philosophy so as to influence other states accept that international order. So the United States of America has been trying to change the international system to achieve its current status in which it is the designer, the shaker, and mover of the international system. And that was the reason why the Cold War was very tough. And countries had side with both countries leading these two groups, blocks, the Soviet Union bloc and the USA bloc. These were trying to just order or define the international order and system for their own betterment. So the United States of America was successful in establishing these organizations, IMF or Bank or WTO, which are used as an instrument to facilitate for the establishment of neoliberal roots in every country's politics. And these are also making these moves in different countries, and these are the reason for maintenance of the status quo that the United States of America is now experiencing in it is present. These institutions influence the decision-making procedures to serve the global interests of the country. You see the United States of America making itself the defender of capitalism and democracy. These indicate that The United States of America is trying to define the international system by making international issues and countries succumb to such philosophy, accept neoliberal philosophy, and these institutions are the means, the instrument that it uses to facilitate this further establishment of this system. Even the United Nations has been serving the interests of the United States of America, and the country has key position, Security Council, as a veto power. You can see what happened to Iraq. You can see what happened to Libya. You can see what happened to Vietnam. You can see what happened to different countries. The United States of America have used the United Nations as a means to pass its own decision, which is beneficial to the United States of America. They went to Iraq and killed so many people. They removed the Saddam Hussein from the power and they killed so many innocent peoples, blaming the Iraqi government to be the responsible person. They said they built fake theories and conspiracy to overthrow Saddam Hussein that he had nuclear weapon. They came to Africa and killed Gaddafi, thinking that he is an obstacle person to the democratization of Africa and he had grave human rights violations. They came to Somalia under the umbrella of fighting terrorism internationally. They went to different countries and devoured the economic, social, and political system of those countries. So these all activities and all distractions were carried out through the channel of the United Nations and the World Bank, through the IMF and others. And now currently, what is going on also in the Western Europe, in Ukraine and Russia, is the replica of those actions that the United States of America is trying to defend its interests by maintaining the status quo. So these institutions were very important to the betterment of the United States of America and allies for the changing and maintaining of the international system. Through these institutions, US has become the staunch supporter of the international order. These institutions have brought it. And even what was going on in different parts of the world, and now is going on in different parts of the world, are either supported by the United States of America or caused through the channel of the United Nations and those institutions. Any attempt to reform the international system and the political economic order will face strong criticisms, if not threat or use of force and sanctions. So, if countries try to change the international system, the existing international system, and replace by their own philosophy, by their own ideology, a strong criticism would be hurled, would be thrown to them, and sometimes they also use a strong force, sanctions and threats. Currently, I had the Fresh 24 channel or news channel reporting that the China government is building a strong army, which is huge in its number and also military capacity. And the United States of America is accusing Chinese government of trying to construct or define new international order, which is a threat to a liberal economy, which is a threat to democracy. So this is a criticism of this kind, and any attempt to change this international order will face the grave criticisms. That is what they say. The United States of America has become the sole defender of international system and the liberal economic political order after the collapse of USSR and the decline of communism as ideology. And they indicated and their triumph in 1991 when the USS was collapsed, and they used neoliberal philosophy as international order and also maintenance of international peace and stability. Then they become the soul and mayor defender of this system that they have to make neoliberalism the value and the system of the international order. On the contrary, newly emerging powers such as China, India, Brazil, Germany, and others are competing to restructure the international institutions and different regions in order to bring new environment, new international order in their own favor. They do it to create enabling environment to promote their national interests. Such policy trend can be equated with Wolford's model of self-extension. So countries, India, China, Brazil, Germany, Korea, and others are trying to extend their interests and their politics, influence the international political system. That is why self-extension is very crucial today. It was the United States of America that was believed to be the defender of the international system. And any threat, any attack that comes from any country would not be tolerated by the United States of America to because they want to protect and maintain that system. But today we're having multiple strongest nations rising from the lowest economy to the top and challenging the United States of America to maintain their national interests and restructure the international system. The third model that we have been talking was the self-abnegation, which reflects the foreign policy trend that are being displayed by LDCs, least developed countries, pursue the policies of this kind, mostly in Africa, Asia, and Latin America. We see many countries just using self-abnegation policies. The weak states fail to defend and promote their national interests in their external relations because we have said international decisions and economic instruments are used by superpowers, and all decisions are made behind the doors that do not include leaders from least developed countries. So these policies, strategies, and activities that are made by these international institutions such as IMF, World Bank, International Monetary Fund, United Nations, WTO, are there to influence the situation of LDCs. They don't take into account the situation of least developed countries or developing nations. Weak and very much dependent on foreign aid are states are caught with many problems in order to pursue an autonomous policy in their own external relations. So these great nations, superpowers, influence least developed countries to maintain and devise and define their foreign policy in favor of those countries. They may succumb to such challenges and compromise its national interest for temporary and immediate benefits. They give long-term interests, national interests, in favor of immediate and temporary benefit they have. So they do it for the benefit of others. They maintain it for the benefit of other countries. Generally, today we have seen about foreign policy behaviors and patterns and trends. There are three key foreign policy behaviors, patterns, or trends. Number one is self preservation, which is maintaining the status quo, mostly supported by countries such as the United States of America and the Israel. And the second one is self-extension. Mostly this kind of policy is supported by China, India, Brazil, Germany, North Korea, Russia, and others. And the third one is self-abnegation, which is mostly pursued by least developed countries or developing countries. And most of the time, these are hijacked by superpowers to maintain their national interests. Please subscribe, like, share, comment, and hit the notification bell to get notified every time new video arrives on Sanyii Academy. Have nice time. God bless you.